The show is about to begin.
Hang in there, it is!
Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
Featuring Smylie Kaufman.
If you're at a local IHOP at a PGA Tour event, you might see Hideki Matsuyama.
Clear up in the stance, strengthen the grip.
His co-host, Charlie Hulme.
We've now picked 5 of the last 8 winners on the PGA Tour.
Oh, just go in the hole. Please go in the hole. Please go in the hole. Please go in the hole. Yes, sir!
And the biggest names in golf.
That's a great question. Can I talk about it?
I don't think I'm ready.
How good does it get, SK?
Why not ask Charlie?
Today, live from the Pinecrest Inn, it's the Smylie Show. So long, everybody.
This is the Smylie Show.
Welcome back to the Smylie Show, where we have, for a week after the last major 2026, a lot to cover. We have two-time guest on this show, Jackson Koivun, with his first ever PGA Tour win and just his third start as a pro. We've got, the imminent collapse of LIV looks like just all sorts of things to break down there. We had Lucas Glover removing his shoes on the course today, which is a fun little oddity we'll get to. But Smylie, as many who are watching on YouTube can see, I'm on vacation. You might be able to hear my daughter's sound machine going on upstairs. You, I think, deserve some sort of a medal or a gold star or something because you soloed data this weekend. And you were fresh off trying to get the kids down. I think we got to start there. I mean, what form of honor would you like for your service?
No, none.
Oh, it's big of you. It's big of you.
The watch is over. That's we had a great time, man. But it was good. I have so much respect for Fran on these long weeks that I have where I'm on the road, and she's having to do what I did for the last 4 days, which I found to be a lot of fun, very rewarding, but you just don't have as much time for yourself by any stretch of the imagination to either text people back, get work done, go work out, whatever it might be. It's just like there's just not a ton of time, and the schedule's tight. But I had a blast, and I will say I am on the IR from a bit of a back tweak from trying to get my kids in the car while it was raining. And this is, it didn't just happen there. Like, we were building up to a dad back moment over the course of the week, and just happened to just go while I'm just in this weird position trying to, get these, straps on my kid in the car while it's, pouring down rain. And you know what? I also then retweaked it this afternoon while scrubbing our kitchen counter. It was just like, ooh, just wrong move. And I'm like, I am going down, man. Like, I was not well, but Fran's here finally, and we're back rolling again.
Yes, yeah. I think you lead the league in IR stints for dad back at this point in time. It is great, like the days where Amanda's working and I have the kids the entire day. We had one of those recently, and like sitting text to her with pictures of like, look at this fun thing we're doing. Look at it. And that's 10 a.m., noon, 2 p.m. You get to like 3 or 4, you're like, what do I do now? Like, I'm completely out of gas. I threw all my best ideas out. What do I do the rest of the weekend?
I couldn't believe how much Harris ate. Like that. Like, Fran's like, what was the hardest part? I was like, honestly, that kid's a vacuum. So I love that. Throw a little red wine in there.
A little red wine, a little glass of red.
He's on vacation.
I'm on vacation.
I'm so disappointed that wasn't just like some big coconut pina colada drink with an umbrella. and just by the end of the episode, you just have like multiple umbrellas in this thing. That would have been a good bit.
I will say we're here at Wrightsville Beach. By the way, like, this has been an all-time vacation. Everybody's happy. Everyone's enjoying the water. There's a little bar down the road. You and I were texting yesterday about they make these slushies with like, put a little
walking distance to this little thing.
Walking distance. Like, I'm 500 feet from like alcoholic slushy land, and even the better part is if they sell you the slushies to go, they have to give you food with it, and they've given us these like boardwalk pretzels. The pretzels might be better than the slushies. Everyone in the house is like, go back.
Meaning like you have to buy food in order to get the alcohol.
Correct.
Okay, I love the way you phrase that, though.
Yeah, that's fair. But they're giving us these boardwalk pretzels, and I'm bringing it back. They're like, can you just go back and get more pretzels and none of the slushies? But I put something on Instagram, like they reposted it, and like here are Amanda and I, trying to be good parents. So we got our 2 kids in a wagon while we got the slushies. Listen,
they could be virgin for all
that's
all these people now,
Well, the kids are asking for slushies. We had to explain to them, hey, they're not.
No, you can't have daddy's slushie or mommy's slushie.
I also had like a total nightmare scenario here where it was like playing the best I'd ever had at Eagle Point, and
you played Eagle Point?
Yeah, 6 lightning delays, and
God, it was so
like
cute. What day was that?
That was Friday.
Okay, I'm thinking that Saturday here was so humid. Like we went to the zoo. And I'm sitting here, like bottom of my shirt. I'm like just scrubbing it over my face just to try to like keep the sweat from dripping off. That's how humid it was here in Birmingham.
It's been steamy all across the southeastern United States. We had like rain here a couple days, but you know what? Had a nice sunny beach day today. Maybe get some golfing before we head back to Durham. Life was good. So
and I know you're not like on your normal like camera setup, so it's like a little bit more blurry than like what I'm accustomed to. But you said you were having some sun problems. Doesn't appear so from my vantage point.
Well, if I took the shirt off and you looked at this is I'm going to throw Amanda's sister Laura under the bus here because she brought out like this mineral sunscreen spray bottle.
That stuff doesn't work. Like the mineral stuff doesn't work.
So we're spraying it, and I'm accustomed to like, your generic like copper tone sport 50 SPF, right? And it's clear. So you're spraying it on. You're like, okay, like I know I can't see it, but I'm running.
Oh no, it's like clear. Spray point. Minerals it's like spray paint.
So I don't know this because I don't normally use mineral sunscreen. So I'm spraying this thing on, thinking, oh, it's going on, like we're good. And then rubbing it, whatever's on me. Unbeknownst to me, it was like the end of the can. So I was just spraying air all over my body. So we get to like 3 o'clock today. I'm like, golly, I feel like I'm cooked. Like, yeah, you look like a lobster. I was like, I don't think that sunscreen worked at all. So
you're not a reapplier?
Well, I always on the face and neck and everything.
Yeah, okay.
But I should have done more for the body. I reapply on the course at the turn for the face, but I just do one on the arms and legs. And I kind of took that for the body.
I kind of feel like you were said, you know what? I don't mind just having a slight burn, just so I'm walking around town, feeling like you're just a golden bronze, eventually, because it's you kind of have to work for the there's some pain that goes along with that, but think about what you're going to look like 2 weeks later. And I imagine that's where your mind was.
I don't tan well. Amanda tans well. Our 2 kids tan well. I'm just the pale one of the family, so I think. I'm like, we had the fan on here. Like, I needed to put the aloe on, just sit shirtless underneath the fan for about an hour. That's the state we're in right now. So
there's nothing worse than a beach vacation where the house isn't getting cold enough and you're sunburned and you're just sitting there watching this fan spin around on the ceiling, just hoping, pray to God, please, can you just somehow cool me off? Like,
please just send me ice cubes, anything. Like
I'll do the LS ice bucket challenge right now. Just somebody find me a bucket.
Anywhere. I do anything. Yeah. Thankfully we got some aloe. We got underneath the fan. We're feeling a little bit better, but yeah, that's what's happening underneath this shirt.
Okay. Noted.
So that's our catching you guys up on our lives. I'm sure you're very interested in. Of perhaps larger interest is 2-time show appearee Jackson Koivun wins his 3rd pro start at the 3M Open, and I'm just going to give you like the menu here, Smylie. Which direction do you want to start here? Because we can recap the win, the fashion
give
in which
me
you did it, beating
Scotty. Give me the slushy
Scheffler.
first. Yeah, give me the slushy first.
The slushy on what?
You asked for the menu. I said, yeah, I'd like a slushy.
I see where you're going there. I was going to give you specific menu items, but you're going to have me equate whatever the slushy is.
Whatever the slushy is, that's what I want.
I think the slushy, because the slushy is the hottest menu item. I think the slushy is people want to hear you kind of tie an end to your President's Cup prediction that you made back in April, which was amazing, by the way, because I sat here, we watched the clip, it's out on our socials, we watched the clip, and he said, I think if he wins twice, he has a chance.
You were so perplexed.
I said, wins twice on what? The PGA Tour? Like where is he going to be winning?
come in a lot more better prepared to play than, say, we did, having to learn some of the things that we learned coming into the NFL that we weren't learning in college. A lot of these kids are getting quarterback coaches, as far back as junior high school and all the way through high school into college. So I think the position is a lot more stronger than it's ever been.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Atlanta should be the team to step up and secure him.
Yeah, Atlanta's really interesting because they're much further down the list at only 8% right now on Call Sheet, but this is a team that has constantly come up in terms of GMs thinking, or the reports suggesting that GMs are thinking that Atlanta Braves are the dark horse team to kind of swoop in there and get Scoogle, and that's going to be something that we should pay attention to.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Wembanyama goes to the park and plays chess against people. I saw him come in with a book today. Yeah. He walked in with a book, Kevin. He had a bunch of books in his hand. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, he's the only NBA player that actually walks in with a book that actually read it.
Yeah. It's a good take. Yeah.
Shot of LeBron.
Listen,
I couldn't help
it. I knew that I was trying to cut you off before you said the name.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Way to go, right? Like, this was for him to be considered, he had to win this summer. Now that box is checked, makes a cut at the US Open, finishes top 25. That's a really good start in itself. But I think, when he's John Deere was his first start and missed the cut. So I think initially I'm thinking, all right, maybe playing as a professional is going to be a little bit too much to start. He'll kind of find his groove, and then he'll, eventually start to get in contention a little bit more, kind of work his way up. And then you and then you see his round on Saturday, shoots at 61, and I'm thinking, oh boy, he's here. I know I know this place is a shootout. I know this golf course is considered to be one of the easier ones. There's no wind, it's hot, the greens are soft, and they were tearing it up. Michael Kim shot a 59 on Friday. Koivun shoots at 61, and then I think the coolest part about this storyline heading into today was just that Scottie Scheffler was kind of within shouting distance, got off to a good start. He was like 3 under through 5 holes, and Jackson got off to a good start. And I'm just thinking to myself, man, this is a 21-year-old kid. He's got the world number 1 with all the crowds out in front of him, hoping that Scottie Scheffler is going to come to their town and win the golf tournament. Meanwhile, Jackson Koivun's like, nah, I'm gonna stiff it at 1. And what I looked at is, I've played this tournament a couple times, and you would go and play it, and you would think, okay, like I can see how they shoot that on, like when they have no wind and the greens are soft, but they're perfect greens. But there's tons of water out there. Like I've played this place like when a cold front has come through with 20, 25 mile an hour winds, and that golf course gets a little like kind of dicey, like with some of those there's ponds just about on 13 of 18 holes, I think what it is.
Yeah, we're gonna have our staff Minnesotan Jackson Brown chime in with 3M minutes. It's the segment we're calling this at the end of the show.
Yeah,
but I think it's, to your point, like there was low scoring out there. There was a 59, there was Jackson Koivun 61. But it's another thing to do it when the world number 1's chasing you down on a Sunday, the crowd's saying Scotty's coming, he posts 63, and you're still out there on a course with a ton of water. I think that the most nerve-ridden tee shot we saw in 18 was that like 245-yard sort of chunk left to stay safe for the water. But to close, on a course like that where even if playing easy with no wind, there's still a lot of ways to get in trouble. That says something about your competitive drive, and you talked a little bit after the round about just the mindset of dominating and trying to kind of take it deeper, not just protecting a lead. I thought that said a lot about him. I think as it relates to the President's Cup, it'll be really interesting to see what direction Brandt Snedeker goes. But I'm of the mindset that if we have a Ryder Cup problem on the current state of affairs for the American team is we need to find a way to win some of these Ryder Cups, and whatever is happening in terms of qualification of the team selection process, the rosters were put together, have not got it done the last few times, and the most recent time on home soil. So from my perspective, it's let's take a look at some young guys at Medina this fall just to kind of see if there are any killers on this team that could potentially be an asset when we go and play a road game at Adair Manor. I want to see Goddard, Bridgman, Akshay Bhatia, Ryan Gerard, Jackson Koivun, even if that's at the expense of maybe some more veteran tenured players. And if I'm those guys, it's here, a couple things. One is, if you wanted to be on the team, you can qualify through top 6 on points. And if you haven't qualified, if you played well in a Ryder Cup, your spot's probably going to be okay. And if you haven't, well, tough luck. We're going to go take a look at some younger guys and kind of see what they can show us. Not dissimilar to international soccer teams that are, in different sort of windows, calling up different sets of guys to see what they kind of have in their makeup within a team structure. I'd rather see all those young guys this fall, because I think we're going to have to do something a little bit different for Adair Manor in 2027.
Well, I definitely don't disagree with you by any stretch of the imagination, but what I'll offer just a little bit of insight and just maybe an argument into all of this is that Team USA is different at the President's Cup than it is at the Ryder Cup. You got two different organizations, and we've talked about how disorganized they've been for the PGA of America and the captains of the past, I should say, for Team USA for these Ryder Cups, and how it's been confusing. The communication hasn't been great. You got different people that you never deal with. Now the President's Cup, maybe a big reason why we've been so successful, besides most of the time out talenting the international team, especially with the demise of, or I should say, the players going over to live. That team has really struggled from a talent standpoint. But they also, the U.S. captains are dealing with the PGA Tour, people they're always dealing with. Day in and day out, from the comms people, the guys that we see day in and day out, that's who these captains and players are dealing with. And I think there's a comfort there. I know these are very, very small things that a lot of people really wouldn't understand as something that would potentially be a reason why we've struggled so much in the Ryder Cup.
This is actually really interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
So I would just put it as, when I think about this President's Cup and what Brandt has in front of him, first off, this is the first time he's going to be a captain. He's been an assistant captain. But let's just try to jump into Brandt Snedeker's shoes for a second. Brandt Snedeker is going to want to put together the best possible team for him so that he does not lose a home President's Cup. He could give a crap about the young movement, I think, because the reason, if he wants to be a captain ever again, he can't lose. And so why would you ever potentially put a team that you feel like isn't as good or experienced as a team that full of guys that have a ton of experience? Now, I don't disagree with what you're saying. All I'm saying is that, isn't it pretty normal to think that if you were a team captain, wouldn't you value experience? And if you're deciding between a couple different players, it's he won, sure, but that was back in March. But this guy, he hadn't won in 3 years, but he's had a lot of top 25s. And you're well, and he's also he's played 22 matches. And you're this guy's played how many? 0. Gosh, do we take that guy? Now, I'm with you. I would love to see us, at least at the bottom of the lineup, be able, not say bottom of the lineup, these guys are world-class players, but some of these last couple picks, try to just develop a little bit of these teams so that when you get into these Ryder Cup years, you're not afraid to pick these players because they have some type of experience and they've been in the team room. So when it comes to Koivun, I think for him, he's got to keep playing well. This was a foot in the door. Now everybody's paying attention. But I think his goal needs to be is, how can I make it to the Tour Championship? The captains always meet really the assistant captains too, meet with the 6 players who qualify in Atlanta. And they start to all talk about, hey, who do you want on the team? They kind of take suggestions. And then from there, the SNED, or in this case, SNEDs, he'll have a bit of a database of information that he can kind of use. Okay, this is what this guy's seen in this player. Oh, they don't want this guy on the team. And not to say that's going to eventually morph into the team that happens into this room, but it helps to be at that tour championship because, number one, it gives you another bat to be able to put on one last impression in front of the captain, but also you're around more of those players that potentially are going to be on the team. So, like, I think Koivun's definitely got a shot to make the team, but he needs to continue to rise up the FedEx Cup to be playing late in the playoffs.
As we noted, currently 7th in the FedEx Cup standings, which would get him in, at the very least, the FedEx St. Jude, and with a chance to play really well there to make the BMW and beyond. I think you touched on something there that I find very interesting that I hadn't really thought about before in the context of the Presidents and Ryder Cup, where we talk so much about the continuity of the European team, and they, of course, don't have an off-year competition. It's just that 2-year cycle. And so then we hear about Luke Donald going on these scouting trips to Adair Manor and getting everything ready in advance. It's like, well, why aren't we doing that? Well, because even though we look at the composition of these American teams and we look at the leadership and the sort of rotating set of captains and assistants largely feels similar on a year-to-year basis, and the player pool largely feels similar. To your point, one, of course, is being administered by the PGA Tour. That is the President's Cup, and the other is the PGA of America. That's the Ryder Cup. And so I know this is way abstract. It's off the topic of Jackson Koivun and his play, and we can, of course, get back to that. But it does make me wonder, and again, connecting back to some international soccer parallels, if there
need like a Team USA national team, that's kind of like somebody that runs that whole organization. Yeah.
And that has a 30,000 foot view that is like, hey, this is going to be this year, because I agree with you on the point of Brandt Snedeker. Like, we thought losing a Ryder Cup on home soil, Bethpage, was bad. Like, it 10x that. And this is no disrespect to the international team, but just there are different echelons of talent, especially with the live sort of talent drain on the international side. But to lose a President's Cup on home soil would be a disaster. So I can understand why Brandt Snedeker in that vacuum saying, I got to pick the best team for this. But in the context of maybe a larger, more developmental program, saying, hey, we are going to very intentionally use 4 picks of this team on guys that are maybe a little bit less accomplished. Like, Ludwig Oberg's a tough example because he was already kind of on the rise, was a star in the making. But guys like that, where like we know they're way outside the point scale, but that guy could become a star in a year for a much more important and larger stage, the Ryder Cup. Let's select in that direction. I
think it's easier though for Europe, Charlie, because it's a depth of talent issue. Mm-hmm. I think, not to say that there's not incredible players over there in Europe, but when you think about how many great American players there are, and now maybe not quite to the ceiling as the Rahms and the Rorys. Like, well, of course, we got that with Scotty Scheffler and Xander Schauffele and Justin Thomas. Like, all these guys can match up 1v1. But when you start going down the list and you look at like how many really good players that could easily make a team year in, year out, just depending on what type of year they have. Like, Wyndham Clark's now going to be making the team. But like, he was the guy we weren't even talking about beginning of this year as even a possibility to make this team. But that just shows like how quickly it can change just with having a good year. Like, Max Homa is a guy who's been on these teams. Brian Harmon's been on these teams. Ben Griffin seems to be a guy that's going to play his way onto another team. JJ Spongum going to make the team after winning the U.S. Open. There's too many good players that I think the job is very difficult to then try to insert guys that are, but potentially not. I wouldn't call Koivun necessarily a risk, but trying to insert some of that young talent like the Akshay Bhatia and the Chris Gotterup and those types of players, which I think it's safe to say I think Gotterup and Akshay Bhatia, and I think Koivun still got a chance to be on this team. But he's going to have to leave off some really good players that have been really like is Cantlay going to not be on the team? Like, it seems like we're kind of trending that way. He's been on these teams for the past decade.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at just to kind of read the list so you know who we're talking about, Scotty Scheffler, of course, is first, Cameron Young second, Russell Hanley third, Sam Burns 4th, Ben Griffin 5th, and Cole Morikawa 6th. And this is after the Open Championship last week. It is not updated to reflect the 3M Open results. So then from 7 on, you have Chris Gotterup, J.J. Spawn, Wyndham Clark, Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele, and Akshay Bhatia. And then your first 3 out, so to speak, are Jacob Bridgman, Harris English, and Ryan Gerard. So yeah, to your point, it's like if you're leaving off a I feel like you can't leave off Gotterup right now.
Hulme.
But I mean,
It's like, there's so many good players.
They come in a lot more better prepared to play than, say, we did, having to learn some of the things that we learned coming into the NFL that we weren't learning in college. A lot of these kids are getting quarterback coaches, as far back as junior high school and all the way through high school into college. So I think the position is a lot more stronger than it's ever been.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Atlanta should be the team to step up and secure him.
Yeah, Atlanta's really interesting because they're, much further down the list at only, 8% right now on Kalshi. But this is a team that has constantly come up in terms of GMs thinking, or the reports suggesting that GMs are thinking that Atlanta Braves are the dark horse team to kind of swoop in there and get Scoogle. And that's going to be something that, we should pay attention to.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Wembanyama goes to the park and plays chess against people. I saw him come in with a book today. Yeah. He walked in with a book, Kevin. He had a bunch of books in his hand. I was thinking to myself, he's the only NBA player that actually walks in with a book that actually read it.
Yeah. It's a good take. It's a good take. Yeah.
Shot of LeBron. Listen, I couldn't help it.
I knew that I was trying to cut you off before you said the name.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
So for Scotty Scheffler this year, when you look, those results are incredible. Come on, it's an incredible season. And will it be enough for Player of the Year? I don't know, because I think there is a value to winning, but there also was a bit of luck in how sometimes, I think in Scotty Scheffler's wins last year, he was fortunate. Guys either, whether it was throwing up on themselves, he got hot at the right moment, got some good bounces here or there. That's why this sport is so maddening, is that you end up playing different players, different courses every single week, and it's not the same gym, it's not the same game, best of 7 series that you're playing against the same players over and over again. You're up against a new set of circumstances every week. And for whatever reason, Scotty's had good hands, and for whatever reason, the blackjack dealer flips over 4 at the end. It's we didn't know that Victor Hovland was going to find his game all of a sudden, right, and then just turn into Victor Hovland. It's what are you going to do, dude? He didn't miss a shot at the Travelers Championship. Koivun, of course, you would think that he would maybe miss that putt on the 9th hole, and then here comes Scotty Scheffler, and he's going to post and come from behind and win. It's nah, didn't work that time. And it's been a long season. I'm sure I can point to countless other situations where guys just either stepped up and played above their playing weight and just said, you know what, this is my turn to win, and they went and did it. And sometimes you just got to tip your cap, but other times you're just man, if I just would have been just average over that course of 9 holes. He referred to it a couple different times this season. I think it was his late Friday, early Saturday this week. It's that was kind of the reason I lost this golf tournament. So Scotty understands at the end of 72's hole 72 holes what it takes. And he just knows he needs to get himself in that position to win. But too often and too many times this year, he's just been slow out of the gates. And that was kind of the story. And that first half of the year was that Thursday scoring average. And if it weren't for Thursdays, like, he'd probably have more wins. But the combination of that and then other guys just playing well and just maybe a tough 9-hole stretch here and there. And here we are with only one win at the Amex.
Yeah, well, and it's even interesting looking at this week where, he makes it on Friday, makes double at 14 and bogey at 17, playing like a little more aggressive than he might normally play. If he gets those 3
been there,
shots,
done that.
Been there, done that. You give him par there, and he's in a playoff with Jackson Koivun, right? And I think that, and it's even interesting thinking about the strategy there of like, is this a guy that is, I'm not projecting on him saying that it is wearing on him not winning, but I mean, you keep getting reminded of it on a week-to-week basis. You're at a week where there are low scores out there, and you're thinking, can I go pick one off here? And maybe you kind of change the decision-making a little bit. You get burned for it a couple times, and then here you are, solo second once again. So
he was in position on 18 though, Charlie. That I think if we're gonna like try to compare him to Tiger, like Tiger would have hit that thing inside of 15 feet at 18. Right. Like that was a horrendous golf shot in that situation. Like that is a spot that Scotty Scheffler dreams and relishes to be in, to have an opportunity to post. I guess it would have been a 62 if he made eagle. At least give yourself like a good putt, like or a good look for an eagle putt, and he hit it to what, like 80 feet. I was like, man, like in that spot, like just felt like it was one of the worst like clutch iron swings I've ever seen him make. Like for how good of an iron player he is, and trust me, I would have taken this iron shot. So, like I would have grabbed the putter. Like it's not a comfortable iron shot, by the way. You're just hitting over water the entire way. And I've played that hole when you have it just a touch back into the breeze. If you're in between clubs, it can be a tricky shot. I just felt like that he was going to stuff something in there. So I was a little shocked by that.
Yeah. And then I think on the flip side of that for Jackson, at that point, you have a 3-shot lead stand on the 18th tee, and I know he was earlier in the round, but you can pretty much play polo up that fairway, and he dang near did. And just kind of hit it 240 yards left, and kind of hit a little layup, and then had a little sand wedge in, and I thought it was pretty good for him to get up and down for par to set the scoring record at the 3M. I thought it was going to be a very safe and easy bogey to kind of just get the thing in the house at 24. So.
Shout out to his caddy, David Flynn, by the way. David's I've known him for a very, very long time in junior golf, back when we were like 10, 11 years old. And David's been really caddying ever since I've been on the PGA Tour. He's had on and off with different bags, caddy for Trey Molnax for quite some time. So I've always been around David, and it's great. And I remember bumping into him, I guess, a year and a half ago. And I was like, where are you working right now? Because he was out walking the golf course. He said, I'm working for Jackson Koivun this week, or I'm working for him the rest of the year. I'm like, just like in his amateur starts. He's like, yeah. He's like, is he that good? He's like, oh, yeah, he's that good. I'm like, okay, just need confirmation. So here's a guy that is a professional caddy that said, you know what, I'm just going to bet on this guy. He's that good. And even in the starts that he's finishing top 10, he's not making any money off of just what the salary is for the week. And that's sometimes the investment young caddies have to make to get an elite player, is just say, hey, I'm here to ride the storm with you. Let's when you turn pro, I'll be right here for you. And there he was on Sunday helping him get that win. So shout out to David Flynn.
Well, and shout out to Francie, shout out to Anna Carter, shout out to Abby the Tiger. Big time. Yes. You're not going to say it, so I will. War Damn Eagle.
Oh, yeah, there you go. No, honestly, I got a lot. It's my number 2.
It's your number 2. There you go.
It's a far and away number 2, but it is a number 2.
It's number 2 nonetheless. The last one I want to hit on 3 and before we unpack a little bit of just the latest on Live is Lucas Glover. So this is a very interesting. It was a social media in a microcosm, because initially Lucas Glover gets hailed as this sort of, this folk hero that's railing against aim pointing, if you're walking around the green, right?
Like,
so
yes.
he makes this putt, and then he takes his shoes off and goes to the hole and pulls it out and then walks off the green. He's playing in a group with Max Grazerman, who is an aim pointer, and we're thinking he's taking the stand. What we find out later is that someone in the group behind them had complained that someone, whether it was Lucas or they picked on Lucas, he said it could have been someone else wearing metal spikes, but that someone was scuffing up around the hole wearing metal spikes. And by the way, you can, under the new rules, fix metal spike marks, so that you take that for what it's worth. But they singled out Lucas, and so he was kind of doing that as a tongue-in-cheek show. So this puts us in a really tough spot, Smylie, of like, it's a rock and a hard place situation. Are we team aim point or are we team metal spikes?
Okay, all right. So I got my metal spike story, and soft bent greens are a tough scene, right? When you got those metals on, these things are aerating these greens, like especially in the morning, man. When you got those morning perfect greens, and you're literally feeling like you're sticking into the ground every single time you walk, and the group behind you is just like, oh man, I feel really bad. And this is before aim point. This is 10 years ago, where you couldn't tap down a spike mark. Now any imperfection you could tap down. And even too, there used to be a better code before aim point where when guys are reading putts, and I got a taste of this on the Korn Ferry Tour. You get these like old, like veteran grumpy dudes who are like 49, 50 years old before they get to the Champs Tour. There used to be a category. And so these guys be playing, and they're so old school, man. And I'm just like this young dude who's like, I was ripping up the Korn Ferry Tour at the time. And I'm wearing metal spikes mainly because I just liked how it sounded, and it felt like I had more of the ground, which felt like was good for me. Anti-high, that's a good tip. Maybe you should try it at your own club. Anyways, so I am just trying, because I feel like when I read my putt, like when I do my entire process, it might be considered a little bit on the medium to slow side. So I'm trying to read the putt while other people are putting too, just to like make sure, all right, so if they're putting, I'm going to be behind the hole. So I'm like, making the process go a little bit quicker. But some old guys, they like to have the floor, man. So like if you're moving while they're in the process of reading their putt, they're going to give you a look or they're going to say something. And so I got a talking to by this like old dude, and I'm kicking his ass, and I'm just like, I'm wearing his ass out. But I'm like, okay, it's fine. I get it. But I'll respect like your time, but it's just amazing to me now, like what this player said to me at the time, like what he would think about this whole aim swing thing. Taking it all in, Jackson.
Hold on now, because we must get this in the notes for the sake of show record keeping. Jackson, I was told that some of the crowds for some of the larger groups are a little bit too hard to see through, so you had to go watch them from the media center. True or false?
Is that true, Jackson?
That's false. I think you misinterpreted my text message there. I didn't have a choice. I had to be in the media center there. But I will say,
had to be in the media
so
center.
he technically had a better view in the media center, but wasn't required to be in the media center, which we always have to give Jackson credit too, which is that he will actually go watch the golf at a golf tournament.
If I had a choice to actually watch the golf at these tournaments, I'd do it. Just I don't get the same lanyard as the lunch lady at Shinnecock Hills.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, what I will say is that how cool. I've been to the 3M now, I think 4 years in a row, and obviously the star power that Scotty brought this week, and just some different storylines, including the Jackson Koivun storyline. Like, everything just kind of culminated perfectly for the 3M this week, I think. But
it was their best one, wasn't it?
Absolutely, undoubtedly, at least that I've seen. And man, when I got there on Thursday morning, and I'm like watching the TV coverage in the media center, and I'm looking, and I thought I was watching like a replay of a different event earlier this year, or whatever the case may be, because it was like 7:55 a.m. when I texted you guys, and the Sungjae Im, Scotty Scheffler, and Hideki Matsuyama group, it looked like, I don't know, like I've been around some major crowds that were like rivaling. It was crazy. It was nuts. And that was at 7:55 a.m. on a Thursday. And I just think that goes to show, obviously, like I said, what some star power can do. But this is a golf-starved community in a lot of senses. And I think you get that with some of these other Midwestern events too, like the John Deere, like the Rocket, all these different things. And I think it just goes to show why these events are so important, right? I mean, everyone showed up and showed out this week. It was hot, it was muggy, it was disgusting. It was 100 degrees today. And then you look around and I mean, it was like the final 4 or 5 groups were just lined. The fence lines were lined. Really cool to see. Fun event this week. And the state of Minnesota showed out.
There's almost like a larger discussion to be had about this, and I texted you guys about this in our group chat, is that the reason why 3M rocked this week, well, of course, Scotty Scheffler was there. So people are going to want to come out and watch Scotty Scheffler play. That's natural. But like the storyline of why it was so cool is that a third-time PGA Tour start in Jackson Koivun, who broke every single record in amateur golf just about outside of what Tiger Woods accomplished, winning all those U.S. Juniors and USAMs. Like, this is like one of the most heralded amateur players coming into pro golf, and now all of a sudden has a chance to win on the PGA Tour in his third start and try to fend off Scotty Scheffler. Like, this is a storyline, guys. When we look to 2028 and we look at the PGA Tour U system, it's like, are they going to be sending that first player in the standings to the championship series to where they immediately get into what is like an event where they're going up against the best players? Because like I just wonder, like, is that something that they're going to send straight into the middle of the season on? I don't know what the answer is, but that I think the huge argument of the PGA Tour moving forward is like, this kind of rocked this week, right? Like, we liked this.
Well, I think that's interesting because what Jackson, I'm curious to hear more from you, Jackson, on just the size of the crowds. You already kind of noted, but the size of the crowds this year relative to past years. But I hadn't even thought about, I definitely thought about the possibility that the threesome Jackson describes, Scheffler, Matsuyama, and Im, potentially all three of those guys are playing on the championship series. So you don't even get that pairing this week because it's the Challenger Series. I hadn't even registered to me the possibility that a guy like Jackson Koivun isn't there either, because he's the first place on the PGA Tour U, and he's straight up to that series. So I mean, it's interesting, Jackson, just because you talk about the golf-starved nature of that region, and you got to imagine they're still going to turn out for the event no matter what. But it is tough to when you see a week like you just saw to think about like what happens when you don't have all that star power that are willing to go and want to go even after a major championship.
Absolutely, I think last year I thought it was the best field that we had. Obviously, this year was different because of the Scotty situation. But and that was the other thing too. You saw all these storylines kind of come together. You saw the youngsters who you've been waiting to see their name pop up near the top of these leaderboards. You saw the guys who should be at the top of the leaderboards there as well. And you see this like brilliant like meshing of these two types of different ends of talent that just, it doesn't happen in a lot of places. And, I just hope things like that and competitions like that don't go by the wayside.
I'm with you. And too, like when you just look forward to next week, the Rocket Mortgage, like they have a great field.
Yeah.
So like we got 3M, Rocket Mortgage having good fields. John Deere had a good field.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wondering, I know the signature event model, like we don't like, and we don't necessarily agree with, but this model that we have now, it seems like these open events outside of like a couple getting absolutely screwed in this, like if they're on the back end or at the front end of like a run of signature events, we're kind of into the time of the year where you get a good mix of top end talent and then also guys that are playing well that would be maybe not as heralded players, but guys that are in form in the middle of the season, and that happens every summer. Guys get hot. So I don't know. I love the way the end of the summer kind of has been shaping up, and I just don't know what it's going to look like in 2028. Are we just going to get tired of the same run of guys playing in these big events? Like, are you going to get crowds at all these places? Is it going to land like Jackson's talking about, like with a Midwest crowd that just wants to be out there watching golf? The answer is probably yes. Like if these guys are going to go out and watch, like even more people might come out. I think that's what the tour's thinking. Like they're putting more money into it, more sponsors. Like you would think that more people would show up, but you just wonder like if they go to too big of a shops, and don't go to the places that really like love golf and support golf, similar to what Jackson's talking about, which is Midwest golf.
Come in a lot more better prepared to play than say we did, having to learn some of the things that we learned coming into the NFL that we weren't learning in college. A lot of these kids are getting quarterback coaches, as far back as junior high school and all the way through high school into college. So I think the position is a lot more stronger than it's ever been.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Atlanta should be the team to step up and secure him.
Yeah, Atlanta's really interesting because they're much further down the list at only 8% right now on Call Sheet. But this is a team that has constantly come up in terms of GMs thinking, or the reports suggesting that GMs are thinking that Atlanta Braves are the dark horse team to kind of swoop in there and get Scoogle, and that's going to be something that we should pay attention to.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Wembanyama goes to the park and plays chess against people. I saw him come in with a book today. Yeah. He walked in with a book, Kevin. He had a bunch of books in his hand. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, he's the only NBA player that actually walks in with a book that actually read it.
Yeah. It's a good take. Yeah.
Shot of LeBron. Listen, I couldn't help it.
I knew that I was trying to cut you off before you said the name.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
he's in the prime of his career. You know, he's a guy that's in all the signature events this year, was getting into all the majors, and now, dude, he's got to work his way back up again. It's just like players like that, you look at it, you're like, man, they really got on the boat at the wrong time.
Well, and look, this isn't meant to be like an "I told you so" or "we knew better." Like, we didn't have all the information, and it's unfolded.
Dude, they said they were fully funded to 2031.
But remember,
February.
Remember when we started talking about this, like in the wake of Patrick Reed and Brooks Koepka, and saying, man, if this thing's really gonna fold, like if I'm a guy on Live, I'm thinking about stopping playing right now to start the clock, right, from your last start. Like that for Patrick Reed.
Well, you can't. You're under contract. That's the problem.
No, but well, I guess what I'm saying with Reed is, like, Reed was under contract.
No,
well,
he
I
wasn't. Not at the end of the year. He was up.
Yeah,
that's.
But I mean,
all these guys, they're just
lose the money.
They have their tail between their legs. So if Liv continues to go on, they have to continue to play it because they're under contract to do so, unless they somehow buy it. Well, you can either buy out of your contract or maybe they'll let you loose. I know there was rumors about players not being paid. I know vendors, like, that's been a huge issue. There's already a lawsuit going on with the Every Shot Counts group.
Deal, yeah.
They're suing Live Golf. They're getting hit from a lot of different angles. I don't know if PIF is able to give any type of bailout in any of this. It sounds like they're completely out, and if they are, like, yeah,
they're done.
Then in that case, like, I just don't see how anybody, like, in their right mind, like, you may look at that deck like any other person and be like, John Rahm, Cam Smith, Australia, look at these crowds, they're great, but it's like the business model is so broken that there's just, like, running golf tournaments is not necessarily easy, and how they've done it very, very high level and impressive, honestly, like how these events have just taken on their life of its own, and parties and great crowds, but it just hasn't landed, man. And it'll if some type of Live exists in 2027, man, what is it going to look like? It'll just be
Well, I'll tell you what. There's your big tease. The next time we talk to you, have some additional time outside of an event recap that includes the first win for a 21-year-old Jackson Koivun. We'll maybe have some time to expand on that and where some of these guys are going to go. So there's your little. We did fulfill the tease. We gave you a little bit of Live talk, but we'll save the rest of us for another day. How's that sound, Smylie?
It sounds great. I got nothing else. I honestly felt pretty good considering coming off of hey, what'd you think of my letter I wrote, by the way?
I should have. I meant to kind of bookend the description of the front.
This is dramatic, but let me find it.
I have it here in my text. It was essentially, if you guys remember, like the Twitter account that would write letters from Andrew Luck's perspective as if he was a Civil War general.
Yes.
That was effectively what this was. And so
and I got
Smiley's
the Revenant, isn't that the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio? Yes. And then I got my kids in there and just looks a bleak midwinter, if you will.
I'll do a dramatic reading here to close the show. This is from Smylie to Jackson and I, accompanied by a picture of him with his two children.
And if you're just tuning in, this is about me having to solo parent over the weekend.
What a perfect way to go out. Here we go. Dear family and those who love me, it has been a cold and dark winter. We have now watched the sun rise and fall 3 times, though it feels like months have passed. Our supplies are dwindling. Morale is worse. I fear I am nearing my wit's end. Yesterday, in a moment of weakness, I took a bite out of my own arm. Not from hunger, just to feel something. Harris remains optimistic, blissfully unaware of the severity of our situation. Anna Carter has assumed command of the camp. Her demands are relentless, her patience non-existent. I fear a mutiny, though I lack the strength to stop it. Our only hope is Mother. She departed some time ago to fetch a pail of water, and is yet to return. We pray each night that we might see her silhouette on the horizon. If she does not return soon, tell my story. Tell them I fought bravely, tell them I love my family, and tell Mother that the next time she leaves town, I'm coming with her. Yours in survival, Dad.
Dude, my cheeks hurt, man. My cheeks hurt. It's so dramatic. It's so dramatic.
And with that, thank you for watching and listening to this week's episode of The Smylie Show. We'll talk to you right back here very, very soon.
We'll see you next week on the Golf Channel. This has been The Smylie Show.
You know, I listen to this podcast. It's really cool. And
all of our local fans and subscribers, but make sure you like and subscribe.
It's cool to see what you guys are doing. I know golf fans appreciate it, but we do too, so please keep it up.
For all the good people at YouTube, like and subscribe.
You guys have some good takes, so I'm happy to come on and shoot the